Hi, this is Steve from yourcreativelife.com talking today about how to ask for something and get a yes. Now, this is a thing that people are asking me about all the time in my coaching. I see it online a lot on the socials. People want to just go up to people and ask for big things, like walk up to some famous showrunner, Shonda Rhimes, and ask for a job. And that's not really the way that it works in our industry. So I'm here to give you three keys as to how to ask for something and get a yes. And those three keys are connection, context, and cost. And let me break that down for you. So, connection, and you've heard me say this in other videos before, connection is your biggest, greatest, juiciest tool to get through to anybody. You've got to be a known quantity in some way. You can't just reach out to somebody, or well, you can reach out to somebody cold on Twitter or Facebook or on the street or at a meeting or at a conference. It's very, very risky. And here's why. I've talked about this before too. You risk coming across as homeless. If a homeless person, an unhoused person, comes up to you on the street and asks for money, you may or may not give, depending on a bunch of different factors, whether you have the money, whether you're in the mood, their presentation, their energy, all of that stuff. The same thing is true of you cold asking somebody for something out of the blue in the entertainment industry. People are like, well, what do you want? Who are you? Why should I give? Like, what, and every person in the entertainment industry, me included, has a stack of things to get to and favors and things for friends and projects they're working on. So the notion of you getting traction, asking somebody out of the blue for something without a connection is really slim. So the opportunity is to create a connection. That's networking. That's, having a recommendation from a friend. That's, having some, let's say you were an alumni or an alumna or alumnus at the school that this person went to. That's a connection. Let's say you went to the same church or you're from the same neighborhood or from the same town. All of those are connections that you can potentially parlay into some sort of ask. And the connection is really important. That's why agents and managers are so useful, because they create the connection for who you are in the long run. So any of those connections, or build your own by networking and meeting people and finding your way through meeting people towards somebody you really want to meet, all of those are really valuable. So connection is the first thing, and it's absolutely key. The second thing is context. You can't just go up to somebody and say, and again, to go back to the homeless example, somebody just says, hey, you got some money? That's one ask. But perhaps if they say, I really just want to get a sandwich from that place over there, and all I need is $5 to finish collecting the amount that I need for that sandwich, little context, and I haven't eaten in several days, then again, that person is building a case for what they need and why. So context here is different for a writer, but similar in its necessity. For you to say, I've got a story that I'm in love with that connects to my father, who was, the first banker at this bank, and he had been kidnapped, and there was a whole book about it that he wrote, and I want to adapt that book, and I feel like you'd be all of those things to make the case for who you are, what it is you're doing, and why the thing you're doing is important. To bring that context is super valuable, because otherwise it's just like somebody else asking for something else. Where is your juicy spin? Where is your personal connection to that material that you can talk about to give somebody context about what it is you're up to? Context is key in any form. The last one, number 3, is cost. And by cost, I mean, how much is it going to cost the other person to help you out? So let's go back to our homeless example. Homeless person comes up to you and says, all I need is $500. Well, that's a big cost. And I believe that you're less likely, certainly I am, to give somebody $500 than if they ask for five, or they ask for two, or they ask for one, or they ask for some other amount that I might reasonably be able to have. The same thing is true in the industry. To go up to somebody and say, I want to run your next show, when they don't know who I am, they don't know what kind of writer I am, there is no connection, there is no context, that is going to cost that person far more. To push aside all the people they know to make room for me to run a show is not really a reasonable request, right? As opposed to getting to know somebody and then saying to them in a very simple way, would you be open to reading my script? Or can I give you my log line? Or can you give me some of your thoughts about the best way to pitch? Or can I get an autograph? Or whatever it is, some reasonable request that's not going to cost them a huge amount, and that is in line with the connection that you have and the context that you presented. Those are all things to have in deep consideration about an ask. Now, this is not to say that nobody ever gets stuff asking out of the blue, but it's much rarer to not come forward with all of those things, connection, context, and consider the cost. If you do that in a good, reasonable way and continue to build your relationships to these people in the outside world, in the entertainment industry, and then begin to ask for small, modest things that are not going to cost them or you that much, that's really the way to go. So good luck with your asks. I have had tremendous success doing just those things that I talked to you about. And I'm also happy to, coach you more on that if you sign up for coaching at yourcreativelife.com. But that is everything, or at least this nugget, about how to ask for things and actually get them in this crazy and difficult industry. So check out the website, sign up for the newsletter, subscribe here so you get these videos every single week. And also listen to the Beyond the Script podcast, where I give out wisdom with my buddy Nick Job every single month, a couple of times a month. And I am really wishing you well in the industry, and I look forward to seeing you next time.